Hello, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing a family game night video, and it occurred to me I've been doing these videos and I hadn't really explained about dice. Uh, when tabletop role-playing games first started back in the 70s, they had there was no way to tell really if you hit or not. Remember when you was a little kid and you're running around the yard, bang, I got you. No, you didn't. I got you first. No, no, no. I was hiding. No, bang, I got you. No, no, no. Uh, Dice add the element of random chance to the game, and it eliminates that particular argument. I got you. No, you didn't. So, consequently, every game that you buy off the shelf generally comes with the bare minimum amount of dice to play the game. I recommend having your own, because that way you have plenty of dice. Nobody's hunting for dice or whatever. Everybody has their own set. It's better. Trust me. And because I hadn't talked about these, I wanted to show you my dice. I'm about as OG as they get. The old Crown Royal bag, the standby that we old gamers used to carry our dice. Nowadays they have these boxes with the separated containers and they little cubicles, and they put all the different dice in there, like kind of like a tackle box basically. But they do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my dice. See if I can get this camera to aim down here. Yeah, I think it's okay. I just dumped out my bag right here. And a set of dice generally comes with a D4. Let's find a good one. A D6, which is the same kind of dice you use for craps and Monopoly and things like that. A D8. A D12. Let me find a brighter one here. Ah, there we go. A little bit better. I'm going to find a better D4 as well. Better. Okay. So we got a 4, 6, 8, 12, and a 20. A D20. Alright, and I've got various different ones. It's a D20. These are D10s. They come in the set as well. So you start out with a D4, a D6, a D8, two D10s, a D12, and a D20. I want to roll away. Okay. Now the reason you have all these dice is you need different dice for different things in the game. I'm going to use Dungeons and Dragons because it's the game I talk most about. It's the game I know most about. In later versions of Dungeons and Dragons, the rules are a little different. I'm talking about advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and I'll try to explain some of the differences. A D4, for example, you generate a number. It's got 4 sides. D4, 4 sides. You generate a number between 1 and 4. A D6 has 6 sides. You generate a number between 1 and 6. The same with a D8, 8 sides. D10s, 10 sides. A D12, 12 sides. And a D20, 20 sides. Now, if you're playing in the game and you're running a wizard, a magic user, or an illusionist, for example, you roll this for your hit points. Magic users don't have a lot of hit points. A D4 is starting out. A thief would roll a D6. A cleric or a druid would roll a D8. Fighters generally roll a D10. Rangers also roll 2 8-sided dice to start out with, but they have 8-sided after that. Cavaliers and barbarians use a D12, and the D20 is used for something else. I'll get to that in a minute. But I'll put that over here so I don't forget about it. The reason that I show you these dice is because this is a complete set of dice. My personal set of 10-sided I use are right here, but they're kind of faded. They don't show up well on my camera. So I'm going to show you these because the numbers show up a little better. The reason you have 2 10-sided dice is sometimes you have to generate what's called a percentile or percentage. And you use these 2 10-sided dice to generate a number between 1 and 100. For example, if I call this one high and roll it, it's a 1, 7, so 17. 9, 4, 94. See what I mean? You can generate any number between 1 and 100. And if you had another 10-sided die, for example, you can generate any number between 1 and 1,000. And the way that works is, you know, hundreds, tens, and singles, you know. But the point is, if you roll a double aught, 2 zeros, for example, that's 100. And if you roll an aught 1, that's a 1. And, you know, the numbers are pretty easy to figure out after that. Later versions have dice that come where the tens digit has 2 numbers, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then the other one has, the singles digit has just a single die. And you roll those together and add them up. It makes everything easier. 0, 0, and a 0 is 100. 0, 0, and a 1 is a 1. You see what I'm saying? Now the reason I'm showing you these dice is because these dice add random chance to any game. And it makes, it eliminates that, I got you, no you didn't, you know, the arguments. Now, one of the main dice in the game is a D2. Oh, and by the way, the weapons in the game do different damage as well. This is a dagger. This is a short sword. This is a bigger sword. They have long swords and great axes and things like that. Each different weapon uses different dice, and sometimes you use 2 of these, and you know, it just depends on what weapon you're using. Now, one of the most important dice is the D20. The D20 is used for generally ability checks and to roll to hit. In Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, it behooves you to have a lower armor class. And armor class is derived from things like what kind of armor you're wearing, your dexterity adjustment, and some other factors. But in Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, you want a low armor class. The lower the better. A negative armor class is really good. A negative 10 armor class is generally about the best you can get. I've heard people go lower than that, but you know, I'm not going to say anything about that. However, in later versions of Dungeons & Dragons, they flip the scale, so you have to roll a high number. You still have to roll a high number, but the armor class is given, for example, my son in there is running a game right now of 3.5, and I have a fighter with an armor class of 17, which is pretty good. You know, you need to roll a 17 to hit. So, or better than a 17. But my point is, the D20 is used to determine that. So if I roll, say the guy's armor class requires me a 12 to hit, and I roll, and I get a 10, I did not hit. But if I roll and get, say, a 20 or a 15 or whatever, that would hit. Now, that wouldn't hit. My die is usually better than this. This die is infamous in the gaming community that I play in. It usually rolls a lot of crits. And a crit, by the way, is a natural 20, which is, let's see if I can find it right there. Natural 20 on the die. Statistically, a 5% chance to roll one, but, and then it keeps trying to roll over on me. It knows I'm doing a video, it don't want me to do it. Okay, there we go. At any rate, they have in gaming communities a critical strike, which is this. When D&D first started, a crit meant you do double damage. Later on, they added what are called crit charts, which is what we use. When you roll a critical hit, you roll a percentage to determine the outcome of that critical hit. Now, conversely, we also have the 1. The 1 is bad. It's real bad. It's called a fumble. We also have charts for that. It used to be it was like a really bad thing, and I guess sometimes the Dungeon Master would assign an effect for it. But now we have charts to roll on. And those charts are pretty damn unforgiving. And there's statistically a 5% chance of rolling one of those as well, because there's 20 sides out of 100, that's 5 each, so a 5% chance to roll one. Now, my die, people think it's cursed or whatever, because when I'm running a game, I roll a lot of 20s. Conversely, I also roll a lot of 1s. So, you know, it's not bad, it's not loaded or anything, but it seems to roll lots of crits when I need them and lots of 1s when I don't, so Either way you want to look at it, you know. At any rate, um, there we go. Generally speaking, uh, when when somebody comes to, this is an old tradition that I practice called first dice, and this was back when the gaming community was young, and you had players coming in and they were curious about the game, and they didn't, but they had no idea what they needed or anything like that. So they would come in and they would get, they would want to play, but they don't have anything to play with, no dice or anything. So they developed this tradition called the first dice, and I still practice that. Um, whenever somebody comes into your game, you have to give them their first set of dice, and the first set is, like I said, a D4, a D6, D8, two D10s, a D12, and a D20. Okay, that's a complete set. You have to give them a set of dice. And the idea being it's supposed to be magical, you know. Doesn't ever work. I've never once seen that work. Usually your first dice they roll crappy. So most gamers go and buy their own. Used to be you could say guys and it was okay, but a lot of girls play too. So I'm not arguing with it. I'm just saying. Most people buy their own dice now, and they buy a lot of them, and there's a reason. Uh, I use the same dice when I play, but some people seem to think that you can switch dice during the game to, you know, if one die's not rolling well, you can grab another die and it rolls. I don't ascribe to that. I figure it's chance, and that's that. None of my dice are loaded. None of them roll better than the others, except for that purple one. I use that purple one almost exclusively. So those are the dice that you need to play a tabletop role-playing game. Now, for different games, you need different things. Star Wars, for example, uses all D6s. The White Wolf game system uses all D10s. You got a whole handful of D10s and all of them, you know. But for variety, you know, you can't do any better than a complete set. So, if you're going to get into tabletop role-playing games, you're going to have to get a set of dice. And like I said, if the guy whoever you're playing with, if they practice the tradition of first dice, he'll give you a set, and that's cool. But if he doesn't, then there's places online where you can order dice and they'll ship them to your house. You find the set you want, and boom, and they'll send it right, just like Amazon or whatever. And they also have gaming stores around the country. If you have a local gaming store, you can go there and check out what dice you want and buy them right there on the spot. They're not hard to find. They're not illegal or nothing like that. So it's not like you're, you know, it's a game. You got to have dice to play. Hopefully this finds everybody well. Getting over this. Nerdrotics had a wonderful saying the other day. The beer bug. Hopefully this finds everybody well and recovering nicely from whatever afflicted you, as it were. And I hope everybody is getting back to normal. You folks have a good day. God bless one and all.